Welcome back, everyone. Welcome to everybody who is new. Welcome to everybody who is watching my channel regularly. I just have to tell you that the new data that is coming around is actually mind-blowing. OPEC seems to be having this kind of cartel control over petrol, and petrostates are actually collaborating how much they can produce in millions of barrels, how much they're going to export, how much they're going to be using, and of course OPEC has extended to OPEC Plus, and they all have quota. We're going to discuss what is happening with them, because we can see that they have some serious issues now. And then we're going to have a little chat about China, and China is currently doing things that are really good. I am impressed by what China is currently doing. We're going to have a discussion about it. And the third news, of course, is India is chasing $1 trillion market by following the footsteps of China. Of course, we're going to mention Tesla and the sales of Cybertruck. Welcome everyone, you're watching the Better Future Project, where we're all about sharing positivity, knowledge, and having a good time together. It seems that Aramco is having serious issues. Aramco is having a looming crisis because of the production of petrol. What is going on is different states, petrol-based states, that are highly anticipated and included into their exports are highly included into just like the majority of it is petrol, and they have some other bits and bobs that they're exporting or trading. But when we have states that are so reliant on petrol, I would be really worried about the population of these countries and about the countries themselves. If you have some commodity and you rely only on it, what is coming is just going to shock you. Not only you, but your families and your countries. So make sure that you guys are getting ready for it as much as you can. OPEC is currently producing a certain amount of petrol, barrels per day, millions of barrels per day, and each country has their own quota. The country that produces petrol and it's not part of OPEC is US. It seems that US is currently ramping up their services. They're producing a lot of millions of barrels of petrol, because what happens is they actually supply the market with extra petrol. So the OPEC countries have to reduce their numbers. And if they don't reduce their numbers, then you're going to have a crash, because the market is dictated by two powers: the power of supply and the power of demand. If you have too much supply of oil, then you're going to have to reduce the prices. What happens is there are special areas where petrol and oil is stored, and for those areas you have to pay, and they also have capacity. We are talking about a commodity, and commodity has a physical form, and when you have a physical form, you need to be able to physically store it somewhere. So when you have overcapacity, what you need to do, or what the companies need to do, they need to hire new places that are very expensive to put the extra millions of barrels per day. Now, this causes further issues, because not only that you don't sell all the products that you do, but also it costs you money just to keep them stored. This is why OPEC and OPEC Plus are now reducing the numbers of oil production in millions of barrels. The other problem they have is not that just US is ramping up the production of oil, but also the looming increasing transformation from ICE vehicles to electric vehicles. We can see that the ramping up of electric vehicles now is really starting to take shape. China officially crossed 50% of all new cars sold there to be electric. We can also see that one of my favorite cars, Cybertruck, is currently the best-selling vehicle in terms of electric pickups vehicle in America. And let me tell you something, not only that it's the best-sell electric pickup, but also number 2 and number 3 out of those top 3 have to be combined, and they're still slightly less than the numbers of the Cybertruck sold for the last month alone. What does this mean is that Tesla is producing great cars, and on top of that, the Cybertruck is more expensive. Yet people still go and they still buy it. Now, once we see that Cybertruck is taking the charge, we're going to see that this is now going to ramp up further, and we're going to see that Cybertruck is going to overtake further market share. The crazy part is that into the last month alone, I think it's actually, sorry, I'm talking about March, Cybertruck has sold 45% of overall electric pickup markets in America. Yes, you heard that right, it's 45%. That means Cybertruck is now pushing towards half of the new electric pickup market share. This is insane. This is how good this car is. I don't know why people were saying it's a bad car or whatnot. I think it's a great car. I think this car can save your life during car accidents, during some sort of theft attempts. It's just like if you want to be safe and you want your family to be safe, this is the car to buy. It's as simple as that. Now let's go back to China. It seems that China is doing like some really good stuff. The latest data is showing mind-blowing capacity. It seems that every week, yes, you heard that right. Every week, China is deploying enough wind and solar renewable energy resources that can replace 5 large atomic electrocentrales. This is mind-boggling. It's so actually big that let's pick up a country in Europe. There's a country in Europe, I've just checked, it's called Bulgaria. It has one atomic electrocentral. One. That means within a day and a half, China can deploy enough solar and wind in that country to replace that. And you don't need to worry about waste, toxic waste. You don't need to worry about special knowledge in terms of hiring all these highly paid people. All you have to do is deploy safe, clean resources that are producing consistent energy. It's as simple as that. And it seems that in China, they have gone all in because they will reach their target, their initial target for 2030. They will reach it 6.5 years earlier. What does this do? It actually transforms the economy because when you have cheaper electricity, what happens is that your overall bills for everything goes down. For your home, for your heating, for your cooling, for manufacturing. And now, while this was kind of limited into the past, we have a new electrically hungry tools. And that's tools, I like to call them tools, but maybe I should call them robots, is actually cars. So the extended of this extended usage of electricity is coming from electric vehicles, and China is pushing so hard. I think the 50% mark they hit this year. I think it's going to be like 60 to 70 next year, and then the year after that we are going to be looking for 80 to 90%. This is still going to be way before 2030. So well done to China for pushing that hard for it. Well done for the deploying of all the renewable energies, because now all the air will be cleaner. All the carbon emissions will be less. And China was one of the biggest polluters in the world, and they just turning this around in front of our eyes, and they're ahead with years. What will happen once they have enough deployment? Well, two things can happen. Thing number one is they can continue to deploy in China more solar panels and more windmills and export that electricity. Now, what will that do for the Chinese economy? I think this is going to be a game changer because they don't need to do any more besides maintenance for the windmills and for the solar panels. So if you end up in a situation where you've got so much excessive stored electricity, or you're producing electricity, you can export that. It will be way cheaper than the electricity sources in Europe. Currently in Europe, there is a plan for atomic electric central, and it's like for the deployment of 10 gigawatts in up to 2035. China is deploying 8 gigawatts, which is just slightly less, every 2 weeks. Yes, you heard that one. Every 2 weeks, China is deploying as much as solar and wind in China for producing of electricity than the whole European Union plan for 2035. I don't, you can't even compare this anymore. I think China is going to do very well. The first option is obviously for them to continue producing this electricity, this cheap electricity, starts exporting it, because you don't need any more petrol to export. You might just need production of electricity, export that, and collect those good payments, because now how much is going to be? It's going to be really cheap for China. If they deploy some sorts of robots to work alongside people, they will be able to maintain. They can do the maintenance of the solar parks and the windmills, and it's going to be really, really cheap for them to do so. A lot of robotization is happening in China, so all spare parts will be quite cheap. On top of that, the broken parts, they can be eventually, refurb and return back to work, return back in exploitation and work again. Well, it seems that China is doing so well that India is now watching at what China is doing, and they will be having this major transformation of their economy as well. It seems that India is focused now on this renewable energy, and they plan to deploy so much that we're talking into now, not even into billions, we're talking into trillions. Because India believes that if they produce enough electricity, they will actually not only cut the cost, but they will improve the overall life of everyone in India. And that is so true. Imagine during the heating of this heat that India has, you can be at home and you can turn on your AC and have a nice cool air coming in. But instead of the grid to go down because people are using electricity, you're not going to have that problem. So actually, this is not only going to improve the overall economy, but it will improve the overall life for people in India. So I hope that the Indian government takes seriously this, and I hope they learn the lessons from China. And then maybe the second option for China will be not to produce more electricity in China, but export that. They can either own it or either sell it into other countries. And because of the massive scale that China is reaching, you bet they will have excessive production of solar power, of solar panels and windmills. That's all for today. If you like my content, subscribe, and I'll see you into the next one.